Let's do some makeup and talk about some boy advice, part 2. Number 1, men only respect you based on how much you respect yourself. So have some self-respect. Stop falling for that 11 p.m. you up text. Seriously. Number 2, stop being okay with being an option. If you were constantly trying to convince him to drop all of his other girls that he's talking to for you, why are you putting up with that in the first place?
Here we have a woman lecturing other women about self-respect and not being an option, but notice what she's not addressing: why men are treating women this way in the first place. She's essentially admitting that the modern dating market has become so tilted in men's favor that high-value guys can literally keep multiple women on rotation, and these women will compete for scraps of attention. But instead of questioning why women created this dynamic by chasing the same small percentage of men, she's telling women to have standards while ignoring that their behavior caused this situation. The 11 p.m. you up text works because women respond to it. Men aren't stupid. They use the strategies that work.
You're gonna hate to hear this one. Forgiving his disrespect is not gonna make him love you more. Allowing a man to openly disrespect you and you still staying with him is basically saying, it's okay, just don't let it happen again. Number 4 is men make time for women that they want to be with. If he is not actively going out of his way to see you, make plans with you, and spend time with you, he does not deserve you. Number 5, if a man says he's not ready for a relationship, it's because he does not want a relationship with you. I have been the girl in this situation way too many times where a guy says this to me and then a week later he pops out with a girlfriend, and I promise you, you do not want that man. Number 8, 9, something like that. Inconsistency should be an ick. And if it's not icking you out, you don't need to be in a relationship, because you need to focus on your self-love and focus on why you think you deserve to be with someone that is not consistent. Before I met my boyfriend, this is something that I worked on for years. It took me so embarrassingly long to realize that the reason that I was continuously being disrespected and I was getting all of this inconsistent treatment is because I was allowing it. I wasn't cutting it off.
So let me get this straight. She spent years allowing men to disrespect her, getting treated like garbage by multiple men, and now she's positioning herself as some kind of relationship guru? This woman just admitted she has zero ability to judge male character, zero understanding of her own value, and spent the better part of her 20s being a doormat for men who saw her as nothing more than easy access. But now she's qualified to give dating advice? This is like taking financial advice from someone who just declared bankruptcy. The audacity of women who destroyed their own dating lives through poor choices now lecturing other women about standards is peak female delusion.
I was not removing these people from my life. The second that you realize worth and stop letting that happen, practically, it doesn't happen anymore. This one is super important. Don't think that he's not like his friends. If his friends are constantly going out and you are constantly hearing stories of them cheating on their significant others, or just overall like being disrespectful to women, don't think that he's any different.
She's right that men are influenced by their peer groups, and you can judge a man's character by the company he keeps. But here's what she's missing. If you're consistently attracted to men who run in these circles, the problem isn't just them, it's your selection process. Women love to complain about men being players and cheaters, but they're the ones consistently choosing these men over the stable, loyal guys they claim don't exist. You can't spend years chasing bad boys and then act shocked when they behave badly.
He knows and is actively watching his friends cheat on their partners. He is continuing to keep them in his life. I have really bad news for you, babe. If he's like on a team with them or it's his roommate or something and like he literally cannot get out of the situation, that's one thing. If it's just like a friend thing and he like is continuing to go out with them and hang out with them and go out of his way to spend time with them, cut that man off, because that is the biggest red flag ever. This one's also gonna ruffle some feathers. He should be wanting to take you on a date. And by date, I don't mean going over to his house and watching Netflix. We're doing some eyeshadow today, so out of the comfort zone. One of the biggest pieces of advice is to calm down. I wish I could go back and tell myself, just calm down. Stop acting crazy over a guy that's not your boyfriend. If it's meant to be, it will be. And if it's not, something better is in store. So chill out. Being able to control your alcohol and still have self-respect while under the influence is hot. You will start to attract higher quality men whenever you realize this, and you also will thank yourself. These are all just my opinions, so take them with a grain of salt. That's all for today. Love you guys. Bye.
What you just witnessed is the perfect example of why you should never take dating advice from women, especially women who spent years making terrible decisions and getting treated like garbage by the men they chose. This woman just admitted she allowed herself to be disrespected for years, couldn't recognize red flags, and made consistently poor choices about men, but now she wants to position herself as some kind of relationship expert. The fundamental problem with female dating advice is that it's always reactive rather than strategic. Instead of addressing why these dynamics exist in the first place, women just tell other women to have standards and know your worth without ever explaining how the dating market actually works or why men behave the way they do. This woman spent years chasing men who had multiple options and treated her accordingly. These men weren't being evil or manipulative, they were responding rationally to a market where desperate women were competing for their attention. When supply exceeds demand, prices go down. When women are willing to accept breadcrumbs of attention from high-value men, that's exactly what they'll get. But instead of recognizing that she was part of the problem, that she was one of many women chasing the same small percentage of men, she frames it as these men being disrespectful and her needing to know her worth. She never acknowledges that her worth in the dating market was exactly what these men were willing to offer her, which apparently wasn't much. The most revealing part is when she admits it took her embarrassingly long to figure out that she was allowing bad treatment. This isn't wisdom gained through experience. This is a slow learner finally catching up to what should have been obvious from the beginning. Any man with basic self-respect would have recognized these red flags immediately, but she needed years of being treated poorly to figure out that maybe she should expect better. This is typical female logic. Create problems through poor decision-making, then position yourself as wise for eventually recognizing the problems you created. It's like setting your house on fire and then giving advice about fire safety. The audacity is staggering. The advice about judging men by their friends is actually sound, but it reveals another layer of female hypocrisy. Women are consistently attracted to men who run in these player circles because those men exhibit the confidence and social proof that triggers female attraction. But then they want these men to abandon their lifestyle and commit exclusively to them. They want the bad boy but with good boy loyalty, a combination that doesn't exist in nature. What she's really describing is the fundamental mismatch between what women are attracted to and what makes for good long-term partners. Women are drawn to men with options, but then complain when those men exercise their options. They want men who other women want, but then get upset when other women actually want them. The reality is that if you're consistently attracted to men who treat you poorly, the problem isn't them, it's your attraction mechanisms. But women refuse to examine their own role in creating these dynamics because that would require acknowledging that their feelings and attractions might not be leading them toward their best interests. Instead, they create this fantasy where high-value men should want to commit to women who bring nothing special to the table, as if sexual access is somehow enough to lock down a man with tons of options. Then when reality hits and these men move on to other options, women position themselves as victims rather than recognizing they were just one option among many. The truth is that the dating market is brutally efficient. If you're getting treated like you're replaceable, it's because you are replaceable. If men aren't investing in you, it's because they don't see enough value to justify the investment. But instead of increasing their value or adjusting their standards to match their market position, women just complain about men not recognizing their worth. This woman's advice boils down to: stop accepting treatment that reflects your actual market value and demand treatment that reflects the value you wish you had. But markets don't care about your feelings or your self-perception. They only care about what you can actually offer compared to other available options. The real advice should be: develop actual value, stop chasing men out of your league, and learn to recognize the difference between genuine interest and sexual opportunism. But that would require women to take responsibility for their choices and their outcomes, which is apparently too much to ask.